everyone, welcome back to another video on this channel, not another one. And today I'm going to be telling you why I wanted to cry today 5 separate times. In other words, today I'm going to be reviewing LEGO Ninjago Seabound, either season 15 or 14, depending on what you believe. Now, I just binged this season over the span of today and yesterday, and I see now that binging LEGO Ninjago is the best way to watch a season of Ninjago, because you get all of it right there, and it really gives you a lot of perspective on the stuff happening between the beginning and the end. Getting on to the review portion of this video, I believe that the animation for these newer seasons are, like, right now, they're way better than what Film had to bring. And I know a lot of people don't agree with me on that opinion, but the fluidity of Wild Brain's animation is something that you're not even gonna find on Film's animation. Even their best quality of animation, which was season 8, 9, and 10, doesn't come close with the fluidity, at least, to the most recent season. And I think with time, Wild Brain's animation could be on par, at least fidelity-wise, with Film's animation in seasons 8, 9, and 10. Oh, and can I talk to you about how much I love smear frames? Smear frames just make any type of action look so cool. It makes it so it looks like there's way more stuff happening than there actually is. Which for animation means you don't have to put as much work, which makes the episodes come out quicker, which I think that's pretty good. Now, getting on to the actual content of the season, I really liked how they started the main conflict of the season right away with the seemingly throwaway ordinary thug battle. I like how they didn't just give us 5 episodes of complete filler before the story started like season 11. They just ram us into the main conflict of the story, which I think is pretty neat, if I would say. Which I did. Speaking of the story, I really liked how there was lore about this season and foreshadowing of this season in the previous season of The Island. And it shows us that the writers of the show haven't just come up with this idea on the spot. They've been working on this narrative for at least a year. And corresponding with my previous point, I think that the character development and character arcs, especially for the new characters, are really well thought out. And one of those really good new characters is a character I would like to call bentham. I'd like to call him that because that's his official name. I think bentham is a really well thought out character that doesn't just fall into the trope of, oh, I'm adopted, so I'm gonna be evil. It shows kids that just because you're adopted does not mean that you're in any way inferior to a person that wasn't adopted. Another thing that I really liked about bentham is that they took an entire 11-minute episode to explain his backstory. I really like that because it gives you all of the backstory you need to understand what he's going through and what happens for the rest of the season. And speaking of Benthamar's backstory, let's talk about Kalmar. Now, Kalmar is the villain of this season, and you know how you can tell that by the first few episodes? It's how he's openly racist to surface dwellers. I honestly have to say to the writers, good job for making me not like this guy so much. 1, he's openly racist, which I just mentioned. And 2, he's very manipulative. 3, he doesn't listen to his father. And 4, he pokes his nose where it shouldn't be. Like, if he just hadn't gone to the vault with the Forbidden Sea Scrolls, Nia wouldn't have had to die. Spoiler alert, even though the full season ended in May. Good on you, writers, for making me want to kill him every second that I'm watching him. Anyways, why don't I move on to something that I really didn't like? And that thing that I really didn't enjoy about that season is Maya's implementation and her character overall. Scratch that. I like her implementation, I just don't like her character. The way she's introduced, I think, is good. Kai basically calls her and Ray to come over to help Nia because her powers are going haywire because Kalmar is trying to reawaken Woljira. But I think they could have made her character way more likable in the beginning of the season and way less, preachy nearing the end. Because in the beginning, she's, really condescending towards Nia. She's honestly like my mom, but on steroids. And I know they have to exaggerate elements of a person's character for a kid's show, but honestly, I think they did it a bit too much. Then I felt like she was teaching way too many important life lessons at the end of where she's majorly in the season. Like, you're not the one supposed to be teaching the lessons. That's Sensei Wu's job. But I guess Sensei Wu isn't really there at that time, so they just had to do what they had to do. Moving on to more things that I liked about the show, I think the last half of the season is, like, extremely good. Like, you got really emotional, important story beats happening in that last half, which I think should happen. You get to see more of Kai, Cole, Ray, and Sensei Wu, which I really enjoy. And best of all, Dareth's in the last few episodes. And as you know, Dareth is the best ninja. Like, honestly, watching that last half of the season made me honestly want to buy every single set in the wave, which I already have one of them, so only 4 more left. And another thing, I really liked the foreshadowing of Nia becoming one with the sea in like 5 earlier episodes, or like 8, I don't know, where Benthamar tells everyone else the story of Naiad and how she defeated Wojira by becoming one with the sea, and how that change cannot be undone. I really liked how that foreshadowed Nia's eventual sacrifice and becoming one with the sea to defeat Wojira, hopefully once and for all. Oh, and speaking of people becoming one with the ocean, I almost cried in those last 33 minutes about 5 times. Like, I don't know how LEGO continues to make me, like, want to cry every 2 seconds. Especially in their finales. Like, that ending scene of Nia's funeral was honestly comparable to Tony Stark's funeral in Endgame. Like, everyone you know and love from the past 14 seasons is at the doorstep of the monastery of Spinjitzu. And it's not even just at the doorstep, it's going all the way down that mountain. It's honestly a really powerful scene that just shows how much Nia impacted all citizens of Ninjago. It's honestly almost making me cry just talking about it. And I honestly don't know what they're gonna do next season with one less member of the ninja team. And I think, just think, that next season is going to be a J season, alright? I know, it's a really out there opinion, but I just have a hunch. And with that, I would like to transition onto my final verdict before this video gets too long. And that final verdict is that LEGO Ninjago Seabound is an 8, almost 9 out of 10, and it is definitely the best of all the Wild Brain seasons. Don't worry, its close second is Master of the Mountain. And I'd like to say Ninjago's future looks really bright. And with that, I would like to conclude this review by saying you can comment if you want to, you can like if you want to, and you can most definitely subscribe if you want to. Have an absolutely wonderful day or night, everyone. See ya!